everyone. Welcome to Real Deal Disney, giving you the real talk on all things Disney. I'm your host, Michelle, and I have with me two special guests who are going to introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Zachary.
And I'm Jordan.
Today we have a very interesting conversation. Since we talked about Happily Ever After last week, I thought it would be a good tie-in to talk about something else that came around at that time, Pandora.
Yay.
Because, well, first of all, why? Why was it introduced? I think there were a lot of rumors, though, as to why, though. I think, because when Animal Kingdom first came out, wasn't it like they were going to have, like, a mythology thing? And I guess they were trying to, like, tie it back to, like, that mythos of Animal Kingdom.
If you look at the logo of Animal Kingdom, like, I think it's, like, all the way to the left. Mm-hmm. There's, like, a dragon. And so, like, people were like, oh, you know, Disney, meh. But there was a whole, like, area of the park that was supposed to be dedicated to this dragon.
Wait, it was supposed to be dedicated to the dragon?
Well, like the dragon and like dragon-like creatures and like you were saying mythology and kind of stuff like that. Like creatures that don't necessarily exist, but if they could, they would be animals and they would be in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
But apparently that project got shelved or something. So.
But they still kept the dragon.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. They're like, we're not redoing that logo. It took us 8 years to get that thing. We're not doing it again. So dragon's still at the logo. Awesome. But I think as soon as Avatar came out and they're like, oh, this is so amazing, what should we do? Like, somehow people were talking in the background about maybe throwing Avatar into Disney, although it's not a Disney movie.
Yeah, like, that's, like, the whole thing. It's not a Disney movie. Mm-mm. It's the only not Disney thing to be featured into the parks. Like,
yeah.
Is Disney, like, trying to claim Avatar as Disney? Or, like...
I don't even think so. What do you
think?
They're
not doing anything with it?
I just think James Cameron had a vision to bring his movies to life in a theme park, and
he didn't want to do it himself.
and Disney just decided, like, we will build you a park at Animal Kingdom.
Here's the thing. He knew that there was no way that Avatar Land as a park itself could stand on its own. I wouldn't pay for it. But people pay for Animal Kingdom.
So is it more like a partnership, I guess, in a sense, where it's like we'll work off of each other sort of thing?
I honestly feel like it's just a trade for this one like world where it's like James is going to come up with the ideas and like the movies and stuff, and then Disney's going to try to put those into life. But like I don't foresee a Titanic theme park happening anytime soon.
You see, that also takes like a lot of faith because he's coming up with what is it, like 7 different movies, including the first one, or it's like 6 or 7, something like that.
I believe there's 3 more.
Oh, I heard 4 more.
Or 4.
Dude, no, there's like
3 or 4 more.
None of them have been made.
One movie that did all right, like story-wise. It was fine story. It was great technology for its time. That's a lot of faith to put into something in a park, like in a Disney park.
Agreed.
And like, I kind of wonder, like, maybe, I don't know.
It seems like because of the time difference, too.
Yeah.
You're talking about this movie that I don't even know.
Well,
when did it come out? Do we know?
It came out in, like, 2011, I think. Sorry.
2011, and the park opened 2017. So we're talking 6 years of development.
Yeah.
That seems... I don't know parks. I'm not going to claim I know parks. But I've seen Disney do some amazing things. And 6 years just seems to be a long time.
Yeah.
Like they were waiting for other movies to come out. Because I do know that these dates have been pushed for Avatar 2.
Yeah.
Like consistently. Like we were supposed to have one at the end of this year. And now it's supposed to be the end of next year. And now I hear that it's like 2020. Get ready for Avatar 2. So
it makes me kind of wonder, like, if it's gonna be, if they're trying to keep it 2 separate things, just kind of keeping the world of the Na'vi and like Pandora or all that, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Zach?
So, I mean, I still think it's a part of like Animal Kingdom. I still think they're trying to make it like, oh, this is a part of Animal Kingdom. This is a part of the park.
Okay.
But this is also like a separate, you know, a separate entity.
Yeah.
Like it's an entity of its own, but it's in the park. They're trying to make you go into a different world from what Animal Kingdom normally would be.
Do you see a lot of franchise from the movie? I know there's like you can get toys and stuff, but are they really selling the movie or are they just selling like parts of the movie?
I feel like it's parts, not necessarily an entire movie.
Like they don't have the DVD.
I
like,
don't see the
in
DVD
parks.
coming in anytime soon. To be honest,
Because like they're selling the merchandise. They're selling like the ears, the banshees, all that good stuff. And the rides, they're trying to show you the world, but not necessarily telling you a story of the movies.
Yeah.
that's very
So-
true.
I mean, I actually, when I was researching about Pandora, they put a lot of just like little tiny hints of the movie. Like, apparently, this park takes place like 20 to could be like 70. They didn't give like a specific time frame, but like it takes a decent amount of time after the events of the movie.
Yeah.
And after like the war, I guess, and yeah.
So basically, the park is what happens after the movie, which we don't know what happens yet because the movies haven't been made.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like after that other movie, like the last movie came out.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like now they have a partnership between the Na'vi and the humans.
Yeah, but it's not really like
But we don't
it's not
know.
strong yet.
Yeah, we don't know why.
But like, are the movies gonna take place after that certain amount of time, or are we gonna see like the, I guess, evolution
We're gonna have to wait
of
and see.
Pandora?
I think we're gonna get I think the park itself is way on the other side of the spectrum or the timeline, and the movies are going to bring us from the present into that timeline.
Okay.
Because I think I heard an interview with James Cameron, and he was like, "Yeah, this world of Avatar that I envisioned and that Disney has come to life
Yeah, that's the
takes
whole thing.
place after everything in the movies."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "What movies, Jim? You have one. You have one movie. You keep saying movies, and
Yeah.
we need to have a conversation about this."
Like, he had plans for this since the movie came out. Like, 2010, he was like up to Disney, like, I want to do this, and Disney was like, eh. And then I guess he just showed them what he had planned, and they were
Yeah.
like, okay, because construction started in 2014, January 10th,
Jeez.
2014, and they opened May 21st, 2017.
Wow.
So it took them over 3 years to do.
Mhm.
Okay, but like, think about what they had to build.
That's true. They had to take everything down from Camp Mini Mickey
Mm-hmm.
and relocate a lot of stuff. So
Well, because I never saw Camp Mini Mickey. Was it like a big chunk of park or?
it was pretty much just, I want to say, if not the entire size of Pandora, at least half of it. You
Yeah.
just kind of went back there, and that's where they did the Lion King show,
Mm-hmm.
the Festival of Lion King. And you can meet Mickey and Minnie back there.
Yeah.
I don't remember much of it
Mm-hmm.
before everything is, because I didn't go to Disney as often back then.
Yes.
But it wasn't huge. It was just kind of like a lot of trails, and you
Yeah.
kind of led up to Festival and then Minnie and Mickey. So I think they just took down a lot of greenery
Yeah.
and relocated that.
Just put it somewhere else.
Exactly, because it's Disney Animal Kingdom. They're like, yay, environment. So we're gonna pick up these trees and put them over there.
Yeah, but like, if you say they took away or they added half or doubled the size of
Mhm.
Camp Mini Mickey, then it says here that the park is 12 acres long.
Mhm.
Like that section of the park.
Oh
Pandora.
wow, I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Yeah, that's what I read. It was like 12 acres. I was like, really?
I'm wondering if that includes like they already planned out space for expansion in the future,
Yeah, it didn't say anything about that when I was looking at it.
because we have 2 attractions.
I was actually wondering about that. I was going to talk about this later, but expansion. Are they going to expand on the parks?
Probably.
I feel like they have to. They only have 2 attractions, and
Yeah.
one is kind of weak.
Yeah. I mean, I see opportunities for like parades, shows. They could finally add parades to Animal
You
Kingdom.
have all that space now.
Yeah. I mean, like at first they couldn't do parades because of the animals, but the animals are so separate because
Mhm.
like Pandora's at the front of the park and
Exactly.
the animals are at the back of the park. So
Exactly.
if we could like contain the show, contain the parade to a certain section of the park. Then you could potentially add a parade, add a show, add a few lights and glitz and glam there, because we already did it with Rivers of Light. We already did it with the Awakenings of the Tree and stuff like that.
Agreed.
So there's definitely a lot of opportunity that has been gained from the expansion, from adding Pandora, and they could definitely add to it. But getting more into the park, let's talk about the actual park itself. There are 2 rides, like we said, 2 restaurants, and a gift shop.
I wouldn't even say 2 restaurants. It's more of like a hut and a restaurant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a hut and a quick service restaurant.
Yeah, quick service, and like you stop and
Yeah, I heard though, like in like earlier before everything opened, that there were supposed to be 2 restaurants.
They were supposed to be 2?
Yeah, and then something happened, and then they made it into a smaller, like they're like, we're gonna do like a side thing and then an actual quick service. So I think talking about that expansion, we could potentially be getting a
adding
table
more
service back there.
Yeah, but I don't see the potential for any more rides. Like, even though there's 2 of them, it's kind of enough.
I think unless something happens in Avatar 2.
Yeah, something big and major. We're like, oh my gosh, we need to see this and stuff like that. Let's actually get into the main rides, because some interesting stuff happened when these rides were brought in, because we saw the animatronics when they released like images of it.
The Thanksgiving special,
Yeah.
or something like that, or the Christmas one.
And like we were amazed because they were so realistic
I was terrified.
and lifelike.
It was like,
But like now that it's actually released, especially in River Journey, let's just talk about River Journey first, because River Journey had high expectations because of this animatronic. But when it actually opened up, it did not live up to those expectations.
No.
See, because when they first pitched the ride to us, that I thought like Jungle Cruise minus like the jokes and the laughing, and just kind of like I don't know,
a little more immersive.
Yeah.
It went from, I agree completely with you, Michelle, that I figured we were going to get on these boats and like we were going to go in.
Yeah.
And it was going to be amazing. And it's gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. The attraction itself and the design aspect of it is stunning. However, it's, in my opinion, it's a small world without this song and with blue people.
I mean, it does have a song.
Animals. Yeah, it does. There's something going on in the background.
Yeah.
Again, I've never seen the movie.
You know what's actually interesting? When I did some research, and this was just looking on Wikipedia, the song was translated into English.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they have like the whole song translated into English, and it's actually called the Shaman Song.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of repetitive. It's like the first part's "Oh Beautiful Forest," there are tears in the forest, and it kind of repeats the same thing. Wood sprites, we cry out calling, whatever the name is, but like just those 2 little lines repeat itself, and then like connected as one, oh great mother, and then by the people's will the forest is singing, which sounds really like intense,
but
like,
it makes sense now that we know what it means.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they should have made that more clear.
Yeah.
'Cause
maybe like have a lyric of it in Navi and then a lyric of it in English, like the translated version. Just like keep going.
even in the queue have those lyrics kind of posted. Like, even if you don't know what they are and they just look like phrases.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. It sounds like something like a message from Animal Kingdom about being one with with nature and being one with the environment and caring for our community and where we live. But also putting it into the Navi area and making it Pandora-like.
Do you think that kind of helps knowing that there's a song that actually has meaning rather than having it be more meaningless blurbs?
Personally, yeah. What about you, Zach?
Yeah. Now that I know what the lyrics actually mean, I mean, it gives meaning to the ride.
Yeah.
So like throughout the movie, basically the idea is that Pandora is I guess, living network
Yeah, it's like a hive,
that the
basically.
Navi use to get information and to like connect with their god Awa.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what they're trying to convey in the ride, that the forest is like awake and living, and everything around it is using it to gain information and connect with
So
AWA.
there is kind of a story, because like I thought there wasn't a story to this ride at all, but when you look into it, there is a story. They just don't show it well.
Mm-hmm. I remember I was watching the Animal Planet special on Animal Kingdom, and they talked about how it's like, oh, if you notice, all the animals are going in the same direction as you are on these boats, and they're all trying to get to this one thing. And I honestly thought it was like, okay, well, there's AWA, and like the animatronic's kind of cool, and then that was it. The story was over. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But now
So
it's coming
if
together.
they conveyed the message a lot better, I think this ride would have been a lot more fun and interesting to look at. And, you know, it's a beautiful ride, so just adding a story element to it would have been awesome.
I feel like they relied too heavily on people knowing
Yeah.
the world of Pandora and like the movie of Avatar.
And just like the whole imagery, like the
Yeah.
whole movie was about like, oh, this awesome technology we get to show all this beautiful, these different creatures and different things. They were also relying on imagery as well.
Exactly. And they just did too much on the imagery and not enough on the story itself, and just kind of
Which was kind of like
bringing
the
in
whole
fans.
thing of Avatar in general, which is why it didn't go so well. Like, the movie's
Yeah.
great, the movie's beautiful, but like the storyline, eh.
Trailer never got me into the theaters to see it. I still haven't seen it.
I saw it.
It's been
and
6 years. So.
we actually got the DVD of it in my family. I just don't know where it went. But Zach, you seem like you're pretty much into. You're kind of into Pandora and
He's
like
well-versed.
Avatar.
Yeah, I've seen the movie multiple times.
Are you a fan of the movie or?
I think it's a good movie with, like, it has a plot, but I think the plot could have been, like, gotten to sooner
Yeah.
because the movie is just too long.
And
Yeah.
How long is it?
It's almost 3
3
hours.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's a long movie.
Yeah.
Send AWA.
It's
Too long.
I mean, granted, most movies are almost like 2 hours and 30 minutes, but like,
Especially James Cameron's movies. Like Titanic was long too.
You know, also, like, I wonder, since it didn't have that hook, like the Jungle Cruise, like, it's known for its host or whatever it's called, like, the
Your
tour
skipper.
guide. Your skipper, yeah. It's known for its skipper, and, like, it loves the cheesy jokes that it tells throughout the whole entire ride. There's no hook besides the animatronic, which you don't see till the end, and that's the only thing you see. So, like,
Yeah.
that's kind of a letdown when that actually is put in place. I think they built it up too much.
Yeah, definitely.
To meet the standards of what people thought.
Especially since there was only one animatronic. Like, I understand that must have taken forever to put together. Like, I'm not dissing them. The thing is amazing.
Yeah.
And that video creeped me out, but I watched it like a million times on YouTube.
Like, how is this? How is this actual thing?
Exactly. I
Like, this
remember
is a cartoon.
I was home when it like premiered, and I think we all went to the group chat and we're like,
Yeah.
"What was that?" And I like had it on DVR and I rewound it, and I was like, "Is that that's not a person? Is that a person?" Like it's so lifelike. But
I think I heard something like it is the biggest animatronic that Disney has ever built / has in their park.
it's definitely
Yeah.
like the biggest and the most advanced.
Again, just not a lot to.
No,
I mean, it's great if you do it once. Go to the park, do it once.
definitely do it first out of the two attractions. You
Yeah, do it first. If definitely if the wait is short, do it first because Flight of Passage, no matter what, you'll probably be waiting 2 hours for it, even if you do it first.
See, I did
So-
I did the pass holder preview for Pandora. So we got fast passes for Flight of Passage, but there was a 15-minute window. So you had to go then or you forfeited your ride. It's like a 2-hour time limit in Pandora to do both rides, go eat, and go to the gift shop. And so we did Flight of Passage first because that was the thing opened at 3. Our thing was at 3:10. We had to run over there because we got stopped looking at all the trees and stuff. But then we did River Journey, and we were just kind of like, oh. Well, this is nice. So definitely.
This is what we were waiting
exactly.
for.
Like, where's the animal? Oh,
this
there
was what
it
all the cranes
is.
were for.
Exactly. Like, honestly, though, the floating mountains were kind of cooler than River Journey.
Really?
So, yeah. Because, like, it's like, how did they do that? That's so amazing. And then you get in the water, and you're like, wow, this water's kind of clean. Like, that's cool.
This water's interesting.
Right? And then oh, look, that thing spins. Okay, cool. Like, it's blue. It's lit up. So definitely do River Journey first, because if you do Flight of Passage and then you say, oh my god, that was amazing, and then you go to River Journey thinking it's going to be the same thing, you'll be severely let down.
Yeah, even just knowing like what, like the hype before that, it was just like go on River Journey. You're like, what?
Yeah,
you were
exactly.
expecting something awesome,
And it's short.
yeah,
I think that's
it's
the
only like
other
a
thing.
3-minute, 4-minute ride,
If that, and that's like if you get backed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, also, okay, when I was looking at the times today for Animal Kingdom and like just both River Journey and Passage of Flight, they were both 150-minute waits, both of them, which is like, what?
I've noticed that with River Journey, because I was there, I want to say like about a month or two ago. It's been a while since I got the animal. But we were quoted 90 minutes for Flight of Passage, or not Flight of Passage, I'm sorry, that's amazing, for River Journey. And it was raining, so I don't know if that was a factor in it. But we walked in, we maybe waited 15, maybe. So with River Journey, you have to see where the line actually is, because you could tell there was no way, like, usually if the line is backed up out into like the rest of Pandora, it's gonna be a longer wait, clearly. But
yeah, the wait times are a bit tricky when you look at it, especially for Pandora, because they're like, they say it's like a 2-hour wait, but like, are you waiting longer? Are you waiting shorter?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
with River Journey, you're probably waiting shorter, but
exactly.
like still.
But
So I find that Disney does this a lot. They actually overquote their wait times, because if you tell them, like, oh, you're only going to be waiting 15 minutes, and then you wait like an hour, people are going to be pissed. So then they're like, okay, the wait time's about an hour. You'll go in thinking, okay, I'm going to wait an hour. Then you only wait 15 minutes. You're not upset. You got on the ride early. So
that's true.
That's a little bit too much of an overstatement, though, to say like it's an hour. Then
but
really, like,
but I mean, they don't really know like if it's gonna be 15 minutes or an hour.
The
they
other
have
like-
those chosen one tickets.
the other issue
Yeah.
with Pandora that we don't really see very often with other areas and parks and Disney in general, both buildings or both rides are in the same ride building.
Really?
Yeah, so if one goes down for an electrical issue, odds are they're both gonna go down.
Oh.
If I think like 2 weeks after it opened, there was like a fire alarm in River Journey for some reason, and it took down all of Flight of Passage, and they had to evacuate both buildings. So
I didn't know that they were connected.
yeah, if you like look I didn't either. A friend of ours who's been on the podcast before pointed it out to me. Zach back, we were in line for Flight of Passage. She was rattling off all these facts, and 2-hour wait, you get a lot of facts. But he was like, "Did you know that these are both buildings? Like both rides are in the same building?" I'm like, "There's no way." So he pulled out an aerial map of Animal Kingdom, and it's just one giant building.
I was even looking at a map and I
Yeah,
didn't
like
even
River
notice
Journey is
that.
like in the basement or some crap like that. It's insane. It's so
I
weird.
didn't notice that.
Right? I had no idea. But like it's like so that's another issue with the wait times is that if something not usually stuff doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
But if something electrical happens or something people need to get evacuated, then they'll both usually go down around the same time.
All right. Okay, speaking of wait times, let's get into our next
big
ride.
one?
The big one, Flight of Passage, or as I like to call it, Soarin' on steroids.
That's exactly what it is.
But honestly, though, I was wondering, like, what does make it better? Like, it is basically Soarin' on steroids. Is that what it's basically like a thrill ride of Soarin'?
I think what makes it better is that you are basically it feels like you are literally there riding on this Banshee Ikron, whatever they call it. And literally you can feel it breathing
Yeah, yeah.
and you literally feel like the air in your face when you're diving,
Yeah.
like through the water and through the rocks and stuff like that. So like, I think that's what makes it more thrilling and more immersive
Because it
than
does feel
soaring.
more real than soaring.
It literally feels like you're flying on this animal,
Yeah.
flying on this thing.
So it's not like soaring where it does matter by location of where you sit.
Exactly.
The
Literally-
leaning tower doesn't look
literally
like a little
on
bit
this-
weird.
on this ride, nothing is like diagonal or slanted or anything. Anywhere you sit, you'll be seeing the same
Yeah.
like view that everybody else sees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that's honestly the best part of the attraction. The only I have a lot of things against Flight of Passage, but the glasses, like the 3D kind
yeah,
of
they're like
goggle
really
things,
like loose. And,
oh my
like-
gosh, they terrify me. Cause like I'm like if I
Feel
look
like you're gonna
down,
fall.
they're gonna fly off my face, and then what do? Like
Yeah.
I've now lost these glasses. Do I pay for them? They're still in their attraction. I didn't steal them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's one of the major things that's a universal concern for people. But there are, of course, a lot of other concerns for Flight of Passage.
Yeah.
As far as
The restraints.
restraints go, there's a lot of restrictions.
Speaking of problems, there was also when the ride first came out
Mhm.
and like people were test riding it, there were a lot of people who were plus size who were saying like they couldn't fit into
Mhm.
it and like what.
Yeah,
How-
because of the restraints.
Yeah, because
They
of
had
the
to,
restraints.
push
Like
it
I
forward and
wanted to
stuff
know
like
if that was true.
So hi, I'm gonna take this little topic because
Yeah.
I am a plus size woman, and that was something that was literally the biggest concern for me.
Yeah.
Because that's not something you experience a lot as a plus size person at Disney. Universal, I can't go on most things, but I walk into that park knowing, so I don't ever pay for it. I usually only go when I can get in for free. That sounds terrible, but it's true. But with Disney, I've never had that issue
Yeah.
with, that restraint won't work. You have to then walk off the ride, and no one wants to do what we like to call in the plus size community the walk of shame, when you have to leave your friends behind. So they didn't have the test seat during the pass holder previews. So
Yeah, which is why it was like such a big concern.
exactly.
As well.
Mm-hmm. So we walk in, and I am the only plus size person in our party. We go on, and the restraints engage. And first of all, it's not even just like a weight thing or like a plus size thing. It's where you carry your how your body is made, but also your height, because your knees
Yeah, I heard
have
like
to
a lot of
fit.
like tall people were having
Yeah.
problems too.
Because they have these they have restraints behind your calves and restraints behind your back, and I honestly feel like the ones on your calves are a little extra, because there's no real, like, my legs are not moving around and kicking and screaming. Like, I'm just kind of chilling there. I can't move. Like, where I am is where I am. When they lock me in that ride, I know I probably won't be able to breathe for the next 3 minutes, but it's so worth it.
Yeah.
But the way that it works is like you have to, like, when the restraints engage, like it kind of sandwiches you in.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you need the assistance of a cast member, and it will matter who's working. I've ridden the ride, I want to say 5 times now.
Yeah.
And out of those 5 times, 4 times I've been able to ride. And I had the one walk of shame when I was with one other person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I left him the ride because he had never been to Pandora, but like it was just so awkward to have to go off and everybody's kind of staring at you.
So
'cause
there
you're-
are still problems.
Yeah.
Like, but you don't really see them that often.
they're
depending.
still there. It depends on who's working.
Yeah.
Depending on the cast member who's willing to help you get into the restraints.
Mm-hmm.
And get into the ride, because a lot of them are they're aware of the problem. I will say that Disney is very good on saying, we know this is an issue. Here are some free fast passes. We're so sorry. I got 2 free fast passes each.
Yeah.
Because we waited for 2 hours, and then you can't ride the ride, especially since you've been on the ride before. It's kind of like, well, what happened now? I know I did not gain 100 pounds in 2 days. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on? But I think a lot of it is just more of like a psychological kind of, you don't go into Disney feeling like you're going to have to go through that problem.
Yeah.
And like when you have to leave your friends, it's just kind of embarrassing. No one wants to deal with it.
Which is why you don't go to Universal.
Exactly. Exactly. But if you are plus size, I say attempt it. Worst comes to worst, you'll get free fast passes, and it's embarrassing. But best case scenario, you'll get to go on, and it's such an amazing attraction
Yeah.
that I think everybody
It's
should
an
at least
opportunity.
try it.
You shouldn't, like,
Don't
just because
pass
of
up.
one problem.
Exactly. Don't
You
pass up for
shouldn't mess
fear.
it up.
Especially when you try the test seat, because they're not going to try to like snatch you, like push you in, and I don't think they actually close, because like they have to lock.
Yeah.
So like if they don't engage fully, like I think I have to click twice, but if they don't engage 3 times in the test seat, they'll be like, oh, you don't fit. But like if you can do it, if they can get 2 clicks in, they'll let you ride.
Yeah.
So that's my little tangent about being plus size at Pandora.
What's actually, we didn't talk about this, but like the pre-show and the actual like story of the ride, I guess, apparently.
I'll take this one
All right.
since I've seen the movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a part in the movie where it's basically like a ritual for the Na'vi where they climb the floating mountains up to this one
Oh,
part.
yeah. It's like a coming of age sort of thing.
Right. Up to this one part where it's just like I guess the resting place of Ekrons.
Okay.
And basically the point of it is, well, in the movie, Jake Sully walks out and the one that's chosen for him is the one that tries to kill him.
Isn't that because he's a human or something like that? Like humans
No. That's how it works for all the Na'vi.
Okay.
You walk out,
Even if you're
and
an
the
avatar?
one, yeah, right.
Okay.
So the one that is yours is the
Mhm.
one that will try and kill you.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
So you'll walk up to it, and if it flies away, it means it's not yours. It doesn't want you.
fun. Okay.
The one that wants to kill you
Is
is
the
the one that wants you.
What?
So basically,
I
what-
feel like a lot of single people will connect to
I
that.
was like, is that how that's gonna work?
So
Maybe
basically,
that's it.
what happens in the movie is he finds the one that wants to kill him, he wrestles it, and then he has to connect it with his
Oh, yeah, I
with his
remember that.
braid or his hair or whatever,
Yeah, whatever that is.
whatever it is. And basically, once he connects it, he's one with the Ekron, and then he can basically tell it what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes his first flight on the Ekron.
Okay, so that's basically
And that's what the
you're
flight
doing.
of passage is.
That makes a lot more sense with the name.
Oh.
But the thing is, you are not technically, so you are connected to an avatar body that is connected to an Ekron for flight of passage.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not our passage.
So it's not your
not like-
passage, it's that the Na'vi person that you are connected to has already connected itself to the Ekron that you are riding.
Okay, so there's
And
none of
they
that
are
struggle.
riding it, but you are feeling it.
So it's kind of like
In
the
the seat.
closest thing that we would ever get to that ritual.
Unless you actually
Exactly.
become an avatar in a Navi.
Please
and
don't
like
try to become an avatar or a Navi. That's weird. You can get your face painted blue. I think that's strange. They also sell braids out there. Just don't do it.
Don't put yourself in a fish tank.
I will laugh. If I see any of you, I will laugh. We will laugh. Sorry. Side note.
What about the pre-show? Is there like is there anything that connects like the pre-show to show that kind of, or like
Honestly,
Not in that
No.
in depth.
not that in depth?
The pre-show, I feel, is more focused on trying to connect this entire universe of Pandora to the rest of Animal Kingdom. Where they're like, like on Earth, with conservation, we're also trying to conserve our Pandora stuff. And then the guy's like, fly.
also in the pre-show, it's kind of like this is where you are connecting to your avatar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like the avatar.
Yeah, because
That
there's that
you
whole
connected-
animatronic thing. That's like this is.
Yeah, so like the
It
avatar,
shows you in the tank.
The
the
floating
avatar
view.
that you connected to has already gone through like the ritual. It already has a banshee.
Yeah.
So like it's not really going through the story.
Mhm.
You're not going through a ritual where you're trying to like wrestle the banshee and it becomes yours. No. You're just connecting to your avatar that will ride the Ikron.
Is there a story beyond that, or is it just about you connecting to the Navi who will ride on the Ikron?
I'm pretty sure that's just
That's
what
just
the
it. Okay.
that's just what the ride is about.
Well,
yeah.
like, and then they try to add in the conservation stuff because it's like the double. Like, you're just in that room for so long. They're like, what else can we talk about?
I mean, you could add that story about it's a flight, literally a flight of passage. Some people don't I didn't understand that
No,
was the whole thing.
I honestly think they should take more time. Like, I understand
well,
conservation.
I think the second pre-show with
the
fake Sigourney Weaver basically talks more about the flight of passage and what you are doing.
Yeah, but isn't like those shows like they're like interchangeable? Like you'll get one time.
No,
and
no,
then-
no.
I don't
So
know.
the
I
first
haven't
one-
been
No, you'll do
on
You
two.
Flight
have
of
to do
Passage.
both.
Okay. I haven't been on Flight of Passage. But
Okay.
Like,
You
It's
have
the
to do
world's
both.
longest pre-show.
Yeah.
You're in there forever.
I mean, I don't. That's why I didn't want to ride it because I couldn't find fast
Like,
passes.
No,
like,
yeah. It's like,
if you
don't-
take the fast passes, though, is there a difference in the story, or do you
no,
keep the same
it's
story?
like, I think it's just the walk through. You don't hit all of the, like, okay, now you're in the old bunker. Now
yeah, that's
you're in the
another
new
thing.
bunker.
Like, if you go through the fast pass,
Oh,
you
yeah.
won't even get a glimpse of the
The,
story.
no,
The queue is also very
part of
very
immersive.
part of the ride, I would say.
Okay.
Because like you're I don't know, you're going through I guess part of the story because you're going through like the lab where they show like you or they're showing the avatar bodies
yeah,
and
the
stuff
animatronic
like that. Yeah.
stuff.
And then you walk into this cave that shows like paintings of ancient Ikrons and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's part of the story.
I
It's
think
interesting. It's pretty.
the wait is scary. I will be honest, like a 2-hour wait.
No one wants to really
No,
wait
we
that long.
got there. My friend and I got there. My friend being the other Zach. We arrived at Animal Kingdom. I want to say at 9:30, and we already had a 2-hour wait. So which is just, and the park opened at 9. Like 30 minutes later, we got in the line, and it was still a 2-hour wait. It's just crazy. But I think if you only fast pass the ride, you lose that
Yeah.
kind of storyline
Yeah.
and the
definitely.
excitement building up to like
And most people want to get that because they don't want to wait that long.
exactly.
And also, I think maybe to make the wait more endurable, like whatever the word is.
Yeah.
I can't think of the word, but like just so that you can get through it. It should be more of an interaction based.
I
Like,
agree.
There should be an interaction where you don't feel like you're standing there waiting, just looking at a animatronic or a screen or whatever.
I agree.
In my experience, when I've gone online and it's been a 2-hour wait,
Mm-hmm.
it's been quoted a 2-hour wait, but I usually get on the ride in about an hour and 30 minutes. I never actually wait 2
I feel
hours.
like that's a sense though where like you shouldn't put 2-hour wait because then people look at it and they're like, do I really want to wait 2 hours?
Because they'll put 2-hour wait and the line won't even be like down to the beginning of the ride. It'll be like halfway outside and then you'll get inside in about like 5 minutes and then you basically wait another hour and like 20 minutes and you're on the ride.
And it also depends on how they set up the queue inside, because technically they boasted that this queue can hold 7 hours worth of people. Don't ask me where they're all
Do
going.
you want to have
Don't ask me where they're all going
people?
because I can't find them. But a lot of people get stopped because, like, you know, you go over this bridge and you get this amazing view of Pandora that you only get in the standby waiting area. And people take so many pictures, and then they go into the room, and then they get so many pictures. So eventually, like, the line just kind of goes. And then the last time I stood standby for the ride, they had a cast member in the cave area, and he was stopping the line for some reason. And so,
Okay.
like, we had to wait 5 minutes before everyone in front of us walked forward, but there was nobody there.
Mhm.
And then he let, like, another 20 of us go, but we all caught up later on in the ride. It didn't make any sense. But, like, that added an extra 5 minutes onto the wait because we're just standing there watching people walk away for no reason. So I
Okay.
think it just
Yeah.
depends on how they set up the queue as well and people taking photos. And
Yeah, definitely. Well, now that we're done talking about the rides, let's get into other things you can experience
Mhm.
while you're at Pandora, which I don't know. Do you want to talk about the food there, or is like
Boba City. Everything has boba.
Everything is boba.
Everything has boba.
it's
Except
apparently like the futuristic thing, right?
Right.
Except for like,
for the pre-chewed cheeseburgers. Those don't have boba. Those are
and maybe
gross.
like the kids' meals.
Yeah.
The kids' meals don't have boba.
No, they don't. But those quesadillas are fire.
Everything,
good.
everything else,
Yeah.
everything else
The
has boba.
just in case if you didn't know, the two food places, I wouldn't call them restaurants. I don't even
One's a restaurant.
One
one's
is
a
quick
hut.
service
Yeah.
restaurant.
One's a
quick
hut.
service. The quick service is
Satuli.
Satuli Canteen, and the other one I like to say is Pangu Pangu.
It is. That's
It's
what
the
it is.
funnest thing to
Pangu
say.
pangu.
Pangu Pangu.
I don't know if it means anything, but that's what it's
What does
called.
that mean in Navi? We will never know, probably. But
Someone go on
it
Wikipedia
sounds like-
and translate it for us, please.
Isn't that more like of the drinks? Like they have like
Yeah, that's where they
Yeah.
have like
adult
the-
beverages.
They do have the Night Blossom, which is just like a bunch of
Mhm.
Slurpees and then boba at the top. It's really good. It's kind of tangy. I recommend sharing it because I've
Mhm.
never been able to finish one. But
Really?
yeah, but it's pretty good. And then you can also get it in like a margarita
Mhm.
form. which
Is
I
there
really
anything
want.
you'd say you would actually get that's like really good that you food wise? Like you go there, you should probably try this.
I always get kids' meals at at Pandora, so I can't really make recommendations.
I've had
food-wise.
the rice bowl with the fish. I don't recommend getting it with the fish because there's not enough protein in it. Like it was like mostly rice and quinoa, and then they gave me like one little piece of fish. But then someone next to me got like the steak bowl, and it was like twice as much steak. So I was like, I should have just gotten that. I try to be fancy.
Yeah.
But I was very worried about eating the boba with the food because I was like, this doesn't make any sense. It actually ties everything together flavor wise, so it wasn't that bad. I recommend trying it if
Yeah.
you have kids or you want to eat a kids meal. I like the quesadillas because you get 2 little quesadillas and some grapes and some chips and a drink, and it's filling, it's good. But it's just a cheese quesadilla. It's super simple, so you take or leave what you get.
The hot dog's decent as well.
The hot dog.
What? It is.
They try so hard to
You
give
crack me
like
up.
these names, and then you guys are just calling it a quesadilla, a hot dog.
What it is.
I just think it's funny because it's like they're making it trying to make it a
Yeah,
different
exactly.
experience, like by giving these amazing names to make you feel like you're in a different thing.
Mhm.
But it's like you're just having a slushy.
Honestly, the Night Blossom. That thing is a slushy, and it has boba on it, and it's good.
I mean, it's good. I won't give it away that, but they're just trying to like make it something that it's not.
I've
I
also
guess.
had the lumpia. That was interesting. It's like the egg roll with like pineapple sauce and cream cheese in it. It was super hot, so everything was melted, and I took a bite of it, and it got everywhere. So personally, I'm not gonna buy it again. That's a personal thing. I think it was cheap. It was like $2.50. They used to sell them like 2 for $5, and then they realized people were splitting it, so now they sell it for like 1 for $3. And I'm like, I see what you're doing there, Disney. You put the price up so we wouldn't share it. But for $3, I was like, let me just try it, and I don't need to try it again.
Yeah, it was. I just looked up the menu to see the hot dog, and they call it a Taylor or Tilu or something like
Oh
that.
my god,
Just
that's
to be a hot dog.
it's a hot dog.
Just call it a hot dog.
Tell your kids it's a hot. That's the other thing. If like
It's a hot dog.
these foods are so different, so it's like I just want rice, but then they threw quinoa in it, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want this. And
Because it's healthy. Like, everyone's having quinoa now,
oh,
apparently.
I don't want quinoa.
I don't want to be a
Disney.
part of this.
Right? Don't force me. Also, so I've had dessert-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like cheesecake, so I've had the chocolate cake.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm allergic to bananas. So it's a good chocolate cake. It's more like a mousse and there's cake at the bottom. I heard that it's even better with the banana whipped cream. It could use another oomph, so I'm sure that helps it.
Mm-hmm.
But I say try the desserts. They're really
Okay.
good.
Desserts. So if you want to try something, get the desserts, I guess.
I mean, if you wanted to do something different, like it's not like a burger and chicken nuggets,
Yeah.
and you're tired of eating all of that all the time, it's just something different,
Yeah.
which is what I like about Animal Kingdom.
See, because when I heard about Pandora, they were like trying to make it all exotic and stuff
Mhm.
like that. It's just a cheeseburger.
No,
It's just a hot dog. It's just a quesadilla.
exactly. It's just a rice bowl. You know,
So just go for the desserts. But yeah, I guess that's all we have to talk about there because
yeah,
there's nothing
there's not
else.
much. No.
There's not much to talk about when it comes to food.
Oh, they have mobile ordering. That's cool.
Yeah, I saw that mobile ordering. So if you want to actually order something, a hot dog, cheeseburger.
You don't want to wait in line,
Or-
or just walk right up.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
But yeah, let's actually get into I don't know, the merchandise, I guess, because there's. I was just thinking about this because I haven't been to Pandora yet. Like,
Oh my gosh, we gotta get.
I know I haven't had time. Like,
Yeah.
I've been so busy. But I was wondering about Wind Traders, and I was like, do you just see a sea of blue? Like, do you just see blue everywhere?
I will say that they did a really good job, kind of eliminating a lot of the blue. There's a lot of wood.
Okay.
I feel like you're in a tree. I'm not sure if that was the point.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like Tree of Life, but like light version with a store. I feel like I'm in a tree.
Okay. Yeah, because, like, I was just picturing just, like, the sea of blue.
There's like a back corner though, and everything's like black lit. And they're like,
They're
this is what
really going for the black lit. Like, we'll get into that,
Yeah.
like, more, but
But just like merchandise wise, I'm like, why are my shirts like glowing in the black light? Like, how often am I in black light?
yeah. That's right.
Like,
They
Mom,
do
I
have this
know.
awesome feature when I looked into it. It's expensive, though, that you even have to reserve it, but you can create your own looking avatar figure, which I guess is pretty cool. It looks like you, but it's like $70. So, like,
Yeah.
It's a lot.
and you have to reserve to actually
But
do it.
I don't even know if it looks like you.
It doesn't.
Cause like we've seen it. At least I've seen it.
doesn't
happen.
look-
We've seen it before,
No.
and like they show examples in the store. They show like the person's face and the avatar face.
And it looks pretty similar, I'm guessing, or no?
No.
No.
They
No,
got
not
some
at all.
guy off the street.
No.
And
No.
I think they have like 6 kinds of like female like Navi and 6 kinds of male Navi, and then you go in and you take a picture and they're like, oh, let's digitize your face, da-da-da-da. And then it comes out and it's like, that's it. And I think they literally rotate every 6. So like that way, if you stand there and you're like, oh, so Michelle and I go, it's like, oh, mine looks different than Michelle's. So like definitely they saw us because like all the Navi kind of look the same anyway, almost. That
Yeah.
sounds bad, but it's true. They're all just blue.
I mean, I was thinking like when they advertise it, they would be like, "Oh, it does look different," but that's why I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it looks the same." Like, no, it doesn't. So.
No, it's definitely not anything like you. So I don't recommend doing. I mean, if you really want this thing, go for it. I'm not gonna break your little heart, but I wouldn't spend the $70 on it.
Well, I think it's kind of funny though because it reminded me a lot of Build-A-Bear
Yes.
because you get it in like the tanks, I guess that you get like the Navi are in when
Yep.
when they actually make your avatar
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
the movie. Just thought of it like Build-A-Bear because you make your own thing and then you get it in a little like tank sort of carrying thing. I don't
Yep.
know what it is, but seemed funny. Again, not much to talk about there. You just kind of get your merchandise. Is there anything? I heard there was a lot of things selling.
I would say the most popular item to buy in Pandora is the Banshee.
Oh my god.
You can buy it, put it on your shoulder. There's like a remote control that makes
Oh,
its
it's
head
one of
move
those
or something.
things?
Yeah, like the head like moves and like I think the wings go. Oh my god, they're
Yeah.
annoying.
So
Because when I was
That's-
hearing they were selling the Banshees, I was like, oh, it's like a stuffed animal.
No, they have baby
Okay.
banshees. Like they have like baby Baymax.
Yeah.
They have baby banshees, which are kind of cute.
Okay.
That would be something that I would buy.
But like that's like the main selling point. That and like the ears at Pandora.
Yeah,
They
a lot of
also
people
have
buying
tails.
the ears.
They also have tails. And it's
I
so
remember
weird.
when it first came out, and all we saw were people walking around with like pictures of people like walking around with like tails, and like
it's
don't
so-
cast members have like tails?
They don't. I think they can if they want to, but most choose not to.
Because they know how ridiculous.
so bad. It's so awkward. Because like people go in and then they get like the avatar shirts, and then they wear like whatever pants, and then they can go get the ears and then the tail, and then you can walk on the other side and go get your face painted. So now you're a full Navi, and I'm just like really uncomfortable. And I'm like, you're a 45-year-old man, and you have 2 kids, and none of the kids have face paint, but you do, Dad. That's weird.
Yeah, that's also the thing about it being more of an adult movie. Like,
Kids have no idea what's going on.
yeah.
No idea. Pitching a
you-
fit because they want a $50 banshee.
And like when you think like if you've actually watched the movie and you know what those tails are capable.
Exactly. It's like, don't sell those. Why are we selling those? Oh my gosh.
But I thought like I was also thinking, I was like, do you have to watch Avatar to come here? But like now that we're actually talking about this, it's like you kind of do. You kind of have to watch Avatar. Like they sell it as you don't have to, but like in order to truly understand what's going on.
If you really want to understand,
Yeah.
then yes, watch the movie.
I'm sure there's people who walk in and like just enjoy the place, but if you actually want to understand what's going on, then you have to watch the movie in order to
Yeah.
understand it. And sometimes even watching the movie, like I didn't understand what was going on half the time because like I just watched it.
See, I'm someone who's never seen the movie. And at face value, I think it's one of those things that you need to go, even though Animal Kingdom is like now becoming a full day park, partially because you wait 2.5 hours in line for Flight of Passage. But Pandora itself is something that you kind of want to see during the day and then at night.
Yeah, I was about to actually get into that because of all its features and everything like that. It's becoming more of a nighttime park. And like, you know, they tried to do a nighttime park with the whole safari thing at Animal Kingdom. That didn't really work out.
No.
Is
With
that a
the-
giraffe?
with the fake noises and the
Like, oh, do
and
you
the
hear
lit up background of the sunset or
Do you
whatever.
hear the hippos? Like, we're not even in the hippo section, Jonathan. Why are there hippos by the lions? I'm concerned.
Aren't the lions, you know?
Right? I was like, do you hear the lions? And we're like, the lion sleeps tonight. Let's keep going. Drive.
But now because they have, like, you know, the floating rocks that light up and, you know, you get to experience these 2-hour waits.
Honestly.
You stay there in Animal Kingdom for longer than you used to. And I guess that's good in a sense, although you have a 2-hour wait. All in all, I think there's a lot that they could have improved on
Yeah.
in Pandora, but, you know, they had 3 years to do it. Actually, I kind of wanted to talk about the whole nighttime aspect a little bit more. The whole rocks and floating rocks and I guess the mountains.
The glow in the dark ground.
The glow in the dark ground.
So like they advertised it as like really bioluminescent, like everything's gonna glow.
Yeah.
When you step on the floor, you'll see your footprints on the floor. They'll glow, whatever. So like when I rode River Journey and saw the bioluminescence in that, I was like, that's what I expect outside.
Yeah.
Then I go outside and everything is like, some nights it's like lit but not lit enough. And
yeah, I heard it's really
and
dark.
some nights it's just like it's dull. It's not even, it's barely lit.
Yeah.
I will
So-
say, when they first opened, like I want to say the first week of like public opening, they were like really going for this aspect of, okay, once it gets to nighttime, it's only black light. Like that's it.
Yeah, they were relying too much on the black light.
But
and everything
people
like that.
refuse to put their phones away. I think was a huge part of it. And there's a lot of steps and cracks and crevices in the ground. It's not necessarily even. So people were like tripping and slipping and getting hurt because you look at your bright phone and then you turn away and there's no actual ambient
It's
lighting.
really dark.
Exactly. So then they threw in a lot of these like regular yellow lights that they normally have at nighttime, which totally killed the black light aspect of it because they
Really?
just drowned it out. So if you want to get the full what they imagined it to be, you go on River Journey, because that's exactly how it is. Everything's lit up and it's gorgeous. And then you go outside and you're kind of like, meh.
This is disappointing.
Yeah.
Also, the rocks are barely lit as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't even see the rocks?
So
Or-
like basically, what you imagined the rocks would look like, it's what they look like if you took like one of those PhotoPass pictures and they use the flash.
Yeah.
If you look at one of those pictures, the mountains are actually lit up like you thought they were going to be. When you actually look at it, it's barely lit.
Like they're
You basically
there.
look like it looks like the rock at daylight, but it's darker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like they're there, but it's just not like.
It's probably because they relied too heavily on black light. They should have used like probably a different method.
I think it's like when they added their ambient lighting, they should have just made that lighting blue.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, because it's still a darker color, but you can still see like
The
the
black
ground
light
and
and
stuff, but
yeah.
the black light's still there. But when you add the yellow lighting with the black light,
it kind of
totally
cancels it
cancels
out.
everything out. And so like it's like your entire dream, like all the cracks and crevices are supposed to glow,
Mm-hmm.
but when you have a giant yellow light on that, you killed it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, meh, I'll go watch Rivers of Light.
So overall, would you guys say this is like a one-time experience, or would you go more than once if it weren't for like someone who wants to go, like for the first time? Would you go more than once?
I would go more than once.
I'm not a huge Animal Kingdom fan, but I would go more than once.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, just for the rides alone, you know,
Yeah,
especially Flight of Passage, I'm willing to stand by with a good group of friends.
that's really hard for me to believe with the way.
I know. But, like, when you have a solid group of friends, and it's especially now that, like, the temperatures are cooling down a little bit.
Yeah,
A
a lot of people won't be there as often.
Exactly. Like, yeah, if you
That's
find
another
that,
thing. Like, I
good
wanted to
break-
wait until like it got colder, probably till no one
Yeah.
showed up, and
If you find that
things
good break
slow down.
between Thanksgiving and Christmas, before people start showing up for Christmas and Thanksgiving has just passed,
yeah.
I feel like the waits will go down a little bit more. And then again, like in the new year.
See, because we haven't been through it a full entire year yet.
No, not at all.
So like we don't know how this section of the park operates. Like even in some extent, we still haven't gone through like even a
Yeah.
year doesn't show you as much as it probably could happen.
No.
So like, it's, it's fall. Everyone's in school. I had no idea that fall break was a thing.
We don't have it down in Florida.
We don't. So
Yeah.
when I see all these people on like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at the parks when I work there, I'm just like, why are all these people here?
Don't
Why
your
are
kids
you
get
at
education?
school?
Like, I
Aren't
don't
they in
understand.
school? And then people are telling me, oh, they have fall break. I'm like, what the hell is fall break?
They get fall break, and then they get Thanksgiving break,
Like-
and then they get Christmas break, and then they get spring break, and then they get something else, and then they get
like
summer.
my entire life, I have never had a break in the fall, and then I had Thanksgiving, and then had 2 weeks in
Christmas.
Christmas, and then had, well, instead of a fall break, we had a week in February. But like,
What? I never even got that. And you got spring break?
and we got spring break.
Okay.
But we're like private schools, so we were like,
My
oh, let's give them February ski week. That's what we called it. So like,
Ski week.
yeah, we called it ski week.
So if you're a Florida resident and you don't know how other states and like especially in the north that operate, you got to check it out because there's apparently you guys are too much under that ski week.
Well, like, they imported a week for a second. It's okay.
It's a private school.
I know. I went to private school too. We just never did ski week.
Not everybody goes skiing on ski week.
I know. The fact that
Not like everyone studies on study
the
day.
study day. The fact that there was enough people that kept going skiing that they're like, just call it ski week.
Anyway, we talked about Pandora for actually a long time than
You
I was
know?
hoping, which again I thought was going to happen because there's a lot when you look at Pandora face value. There's not a lot to it. It's just a park, another section.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look into it, there's a
there.
lot. There's a lot there.
I feel like, But like how we talked about it for over about an hour, it's the same way that people feel that Disney feels about Pandora. People coming, they're like, "Wow, look at this 2 hour wait! Like we didn't think we were gonna stand in line for half an hour for the river journey, but they're still here."
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. So thank you guys for joining us on today's conversation. Thank you, my lovely guest,
No problem.
for
You're
joining me.
welcome.
If you want to check us out on anything else Real Deal or join in on this conversation, talk a little bit more about Pandora, what you've learned from this, because I certainly have.
Yep.
You can follow us on all our other social media websites. We have Tumblr, we have Facebook. We're getting a SoundCloud. I'm still trying to work with that, like I said last week, but still trying to work with that. What else do we have? We have Twitter. Twitter is something we have. I completely forgot about Twitter. You can talk to us there. Ask us questions.
tweet
Other
at us.
talks. If you have any other topics you want us to talk. I cannot talk today. What is this? If you have any other topics you want to talk about, there we go. It was just a lot of tease. Then tell us. We'll listen. All our links are also in the description box of our YouTube channel. So if you're on our YouTube video right now, check out those links. Or if you don't, then just search Real Deal Disney, and to all of those, we should pop up pretty quickly. And that's how you can find us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next conversation. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.